Happy Friday, everybody. Pastor Steve here, and thank you so very much for being with me for this devotion and our Bible reading plan today. We are in the 14th chapter of Luke's Gospel, and as always, please read the chapter first, write in your journal what God speaks to you and how you're going to respond to Him, and then watch the video devotional or listen to the podcast devotional. When I read Luke 14, rather, I hope I said Luke 14. I think I did. But anyway, Luke 14, when I read it, several things, really just jumped out at me. I had a lot of different impressions and thoughts and ideas. There was the parable of the guest, the role of humility, if you will, versus, self-promotion, which is very common in our culture today. The desire for honor and recognition that Jesus really addresses in this particular parable. Also, in the opening 6 verses, when they're eating bread and so on the Sabbath day and et cetera and all that, and He heals the man. The idea that people matter more than rules. Sometimes we tend to forget that, and if we're not careful, the more religious we become, the more we can forget that. But people matter more than rules. But what spoke to me the most was what Jesus said about discipleship beginning in verse 25. And I want you to notice He said this not to a small group, but to a very, very large group. It says in 25, large crowds were going along with Him, and He turned and said to them. So this was Jesus' message like on Sunday morning, if you will. If anyone comes to me and does not hate his own father and mother and wife and children and brothers and sisters, yes, even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. And whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. And I wonder how they reacted when they heard that. Does Jesus really want me and you to hate our family? Well, of course not. We all know he doesn't. What He's in a hyperbolic way saying, and it was a common teaching technique in their day, is that we are to love Him more. It doesn't mean we love them less than we do or should. It's just that, yes, we love them, but we are to love Him even more and be surrendered to Him. That's what He means in verse 27 when He talks about taking up the cross and coming after Him and even hating our own lives. In other words, we have to love Him and His cause and His kingdom more than we love ourselves, more than we love other people. It doesn't mean we love ourselves badly or we love others badly. No. We are to love each other well, but we are to love Him even more. And so He says, if you're going to follow Him, you need to realize that and count the cost. And that's the whole point of verses 28 and following. He says, if you're going to build a tower, you sit down and calculate how much it would cost, and do you have enough to finish it so you don't look foolish if you get halfway through and can't finish the job. Or if you go to war, make sure you've got your army is capable of defeating the army you're going to be in battle with. And so Jesus says, count the cost. Realize that following me, Jesus says, is not just about always getting what you want. Not always about, just heaven and eternal life. Heaven and eternal life are part of it. He blesses us in so many ways. He says, but you need to count the cost. That if you're going to follow me, you need to realize it means you're going to love me most. And you remember on another occasion, Jesus said the greatest commandment is what? Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might, and with all your strength. And count the cost. It's the idea of surrender, of just full surrender, total surrender of everything I am and everything I have to Him and His lordship in my life. And that includes my money and possessions. In verse 33, He says, so then, none of you can be my disciple who does not give up all his own possessions. Now, does that mean Jesus wants me and you to live in poverty? To give away everything we have and never be able to provide for our family? No, but it's the same idea that we surrender our possessions to Him. we've often said that one of the reasons we tithe and give is a way of expressing the surrender of our resources to Him. And a refusal to give, a refusal to tithe is saying, God, I'm not surrendering these to you. I'm holding on to them. It's the same idea above if we hold on to our family and don't love Jesus more. And you know, sometimes we learn the lesson hard that when our kids become adults, we have to let them go. They're God's, they're not ours. The truth is there's some element of that even when they're younger and you're caring for them, that everything we have is a gift from God and we've got to release it to Him. And we show that in different ways. And financially we show it in giving and also in how we use the rest of our resources. All of it belongs to Him. So surrender, Jesus is saying, includes the totality of our lives and everything that's a part of our lives. Loving Him most with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength involves loving Him more than everyone and everything else, and that needs to show itself. And I think Jesus is a very practical teacher because here He's talking about two of the things we want to hold on to the tightest: our family and our money. And He's basically saying you've got to let go of them both and give them to me. That's what discipleship does. And we all need to be moving in that direction. If you're not there already, you need to be moving in that direction because that is what discipleship looks like. That's what Jesus teaches in this chapter. Well, Monday we'll look at chapter 15, the three parables of the lost sheep, corn, and son. And Sunday, you be in church, bring somebody with you. Pray for God to give you an opportunity to invite someone today, for courage to speak to them, and then invite them to come with you Sunday morning. God bless you. I'll see you Sunday, and then we'll be with you again Monday for another devotion.